Joe Harford, welcome to the Shred Truck podcast studio. I'm glad you're here.
Tom, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're here. But before we go on, if somebody doesn't know who you are, and I don't know how they wouldn't, but if they don't know who you are, who are you? What do you do? Where do you work? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. So Joe Harford, founder and president of Reclamier, ITAD company, located in central Pennsylvania. Been in business for about 25 years, and one of the very first ITAD companies to join NAID back in the day, AAA NAID certified, and have been involved with NAID, I Sigma, for well over 15 years, and just really glad to be part of the community.
Yeah, and to me, you have not just been a member of the community, but you and your partner, Angie, have not just shown up and been a part of it, but like you have led the way in terms of contributing. You've helped to build the association's understanding of ITAD, how to think about ITAD, and everything related to that. Not just ITAD, but TAM. I think we add to that whole equation. But really help write the spec, even how we think about AAA certification and that. So take me back a little bit into part of that story is what made you decide we're not just going to show up here, but actually be leaders here? Like, well, what's that?
Sure. So back in the day, 2002, my business partner, Angie Singer-Keating, came to her very first NAID conference, ran into a couple by the name of John and Cherie Bartel.
Yes.
Back in the day, folks involved in the industry, and a number of other folks that really, they took them under her wing, or her under their wing, and really were very welcoming and positive and helpful. And when she came back, she said, I realized that we're not document destruction companies, but electronics is part of it. That's where paper begins, right?
Right.
And we've got to be on the forefront, and we've got to be able to figure out how we can not only be part of this association, but how can we add value. We both, after 25 years in business, believe that we're incredibly blessed, not only with our business and our health and our families, and we've got a responsibility to give back. There's a wonderful ecosystem here.
Yeah.
Sure, we compete to a certain degree, but it's about being part of a community. And so that giving back and helping to guide the association has been really important for us, because back in the day, people did things to help Angie and I.
Yes.
Without any concern about competition, whether or not they were going to get paid as consultants. It was very much a family environment. And so now for Angie and I, we basically want to do the same thing.
Yeah, and you have. And today, which was really cool. It was really cool to see you get honored as Member of the Year. And congratulations.
Thank you.
For a well-deserved award. And generally that speaks to something that, has happened in the previous year. But to me, you've been doing this your whole time. Like, right. You show up I'm the one who gets the most sessions in any given year. And this year I looked at the schedule and holy shit, Joe is doing like 12 sessions this year, let alone your Shred Idol one, which is like a perennial favorite. But
sure,
I saw you on the thing, I don't know, 4 times?
4. Yeah.
4 times.
Yep.
So, there's that, but it's been a lifetime of you showing up and just giving, and from committee work to behind the scenes work with what Angie's done, but you specifically have shown up and done it time and time again. What particularly excites you about where the industry's going, about what you're seeing in the industry?
So the industry is made up of individuals that are not just document destruction companies or storage companies or scanning companies. This industry allows its customers to go to sleep at night and not worry about their information.
Yeah.
It's not just about collecting containers. It's about being a partner with that bank. It's about being a consultant with that healthcare system. It's about sitting down and saying, listen, this is not your expertise. It doesn't need to be your expertise. It's my expertise. I'm the subject matter expert, and I want to help you. Now, obviously, there's a transaction of dollars and cents that has to go back and forth, but there is this sense of care for a community. And so, as I take a look at now the new landscape, which we call cybersecurity and cyber hygiene, we know that that's the next horizon. That's the
Right.
next push for the association. So what we want to do is we want to say, okay, let's help members step it up a notch, become even more of a consultant than they had been in the past, so they can understand first and foremost their own cyber posture, so they can protect their environment first and foremost, protect your own house, right? And then secondarily, make sure that they don't become that third-party vendor that presents risk to their customer, because nobody wants to be in that situation. Nobody wants to be the person that calls Tom Adams on a Friday afternoon and says, Tom, I've breached your data.
Right.
I'm the reason why you've got to go out to an organization and report a breach.
Right.
Nobody does. So because the threat landscape is changing so quickly, because threat actors are making an incredible amount of money, and because there's a lot at risk, we just simply want to be in that group of folks saying, okay, how can we help you understand what it is? How do you prepare for it? And then how do you use it as a market differentiator? Don't just simply have great cyber posture and hygiene without going out and telling your customers.
Right.
Don't tell your customers you're doing you tell your customers you're AAA certified, right? Of course you do. Now let's go out and do the same thing with cyber.
Yeah, that's so cool. And it really is the edge of the spear now.
It is.
Right?
For sure.
It's where all of the crazy is happening.
That's right.
I mean, pretty much, and it's just my opinion, but pretty much everybody is now in their head knows you put your paper in the shred container.
Right.
Like, and now pretty much, I think a lot of people, maybe other than small business, micro business, homeowners, they're thinking we need to put these hard drives into a secure destruction process. But what's missing still is like all the crap that's happening at the front edge of their businesses,
right,
that they're missing, that you guys are uniquely bringing to our attention time and time again.
Right. Yeah. And it's something that, first of all, people should not be afraid of it.
No.
I made that very clear in my last session. There's no need to be afraid of it. There is a requirement to be aware, to become educated, and then to build some implementation strategy, like I said earlier, to first and foremost protect your house first.
Yes.
That's what you've got to do. Once you do that, then you become an even better resource for the clients that you serve.
But I think there's I don't know, I feel like eat your own dog food concept here, which is we're in the secure information management destruction area. If we're not being secure with the way we manage in this industry, the way we manage our own cyber protection, I feel like in some small way there's a lack of integrity there.
You could say that, sure.
That's me saying
no,
it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
To me, it's easy to say to a client, you need to protect your data by shredding with us. But if you're not also then saying, I need to make sure that the fact that your name is in my database as a client, if I'm not protecting that, then it's not in alignment. So that's the thing for me.
That's fair. And I think where we are is we're at that place now where we have to, both as individual practitioners, Reclamere, as the association iSigma,
Yep,
we have to go from just beating the drum to educating people.
Yes.
That's what this conference was meant to do. That's what
Right.
the 3 articles that I wrote were meant to do,
Yep.
to really bring awareness. You made the comment about, eating your own dog food. Angie has said that for years.
Yep.
And in our business at Reclamere, there is nothing that we supply our customers with today, services that we offer or support that we give, that we do not employ all of those strategies
Correct.
in our own business.
Correct.
We spend, as an organization, an incredible amount of money on our own information security posture, simply because how do I go to XYZ customer and say, oh, by the way, Tom, I want you to do these things and spend this money, but oh, by the way, Reclamere doesn't do that.
Right.
I mean, that's foolish, right? So now what we want to do is we want to say, again, be aware, don't be afraid, and let's start that journey together.
Yes. And I am deeply appreciative of you and Angie, but I'm talking to you today for your posture of continuing to push us as an industry forward in that regard, because you always have, and you've continued to do that on behalf of the industry, even though it doesn't necessarily materially benefit you, but I feel like you've continued to raise, I don't know, that all boats get lifted by,
Right.
And I feel like you guys have done that in such a cool way, and I'm really grateful to you for doing that in the industry.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you recognizing that, but there's a reason behind it. There are a number of people, both in I Sigma, members, vendors, partners, that are our friends.
Yeah.
I consider you to be my
Right.
friend.
Yes.
You provide services to my company, but you are my friend.
Yes.
And so maybe I may sound naive when I say this, but I think I have a responsibility to you as my friend, as the rest of the people that are in this hall, to say, I have a certain degree of expertise in an area that could create an incredible amount of aggravation for you. And all I want to do is help you be aware of it. Now, if it happens to turn into a business relationship, that's cool.
Yep.
But that's not the impetus of it. It's to say, this is something you should be prepared for, and let's talk about it together.
Yes. Yeah. Delightful. So you're at the conference this year. You're walking around. You're talking to people. You've been presenting. What's the thing that excites you most about what you're seeing this year, what you're experiencing, just as a member of this community now, not necessarily as a leader and as somebody who got this really cool award today, but you're just a member. What excites you about what you're seeing in the conference this year?
I have not talked to anyone that is afraid of anything that's going on in the landscape today, be it economic or political. Are they concerned? Sure they are. They are doing all of the right things in a great way. They talk about their employees. They talk about how they market. They talk about how they fulfill services. There is excitement when you talk to people. There aren't Eeyores wandering around going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me in 6 months? Not at all. There is an energy here that is positive. It is incredibly resilient. And it's saying, listen, yeah, sure, maybe it's a bumpy time. Okay, sure, it's a bumpy time. But you know what? We're going to get through it. We've had bumpy times before. And so for me, that energy level, that really positive mindset is very inspiring to me.
Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't also bring in another part of your life that we don't talk about much in this industry, but I feel not an obligation but a desire to ask you about this other work that you do in the world that I think is so incredibly cool. So give us a little bit of a glimpse into the other part of your life that you're extremely passionate about.
Sure.
Just give us the short form version of it.
Sure. So my wife Karen and I formed 2 years ago a nonprofit organization called Farming to Freedom. It is a metaphor. And what we do is we work with men and women that are currently on probation or parole, and we're helping them not to go back to prison. We are focused on reducing the recidivism rate in the United States by recognizing the fact that, you know what, we all make mistakes. By the grace of God, I just never got caught, but there are plenty of people that do, right?
Yep.
And so after someone goes ahead and they pay their price back to society, which they should, then as a humane society, we have to figure out a way to integrate them back into their home, their community, their job, etc. Because from my perspective as a business owner, I want to see them become a tax contributor and not a tax burden.
Right.
And so, the work that we do is, it's difficult. I mean, there are an incredible number of problems that are out there. But when you sit down with someone and you help them find that apartment, when you help them interview for that job, when you help them reconnect with their children, when you help them, the very first time somebody goes to the bank and they get a savings account, what we would take for granted, you and I, it is the most fulfilling experience. And when I meet people out on the street and they say things to me like, if it weren't for you, I would have never been where I am. And you have to correct them because my job is simply to be a set of guide rails. They've got to do the hard work.
Right.
They've got to do the change. They've got to be committed with a different mindset. I just simply want to be somebody that helps them along that journey, and it's incredibly fulfilling.
And I think this is the point for me, and every time I've talked to you about this, it's the point that yes, I could be there too by the grace of God, but I also think we don't even comprehend how complex and difficult it is to make your way back into society because everything's stacked against you. And so what particularly is it about the farm that is the path, because that's kind of the channel you chose.
Sure.
Why that path? What was particularly compelling about that path versus bringing them into your business?
Sure. So again, it's farming to freedom at this point in time is a metaphor. It's about having men and women have the opportunity to farm for second chances, for having somebody to just simply take an interest in them when the probation officers we have in the United States of America are incredibly overwhelmed. The judicial system is incredibly overwhelmed. It is not designed for successful reentry. It's just not. And it's not because they don't care. It's by the nature of the institution, it's not designed that way. Okay, so now what we do is we say to these individuals, all right, let's identify what's causing you to be in that place to begin with. How do we change that mindset, that behavior? We've got to deal with mental health.
Yeah.
We have to deal with addiction. We have to deal with abuse. There are any number of factors that we have to focus on. But we're talking about a human being that paid their debt back to society, and I believe we have a humane responsibility to do something to help them. Now, are there some people, for a wide variety of reasons, that may never be able to really return to society? Unfortunately, the data tells me, yes, there are. But the vast majority of people, well over 90%, are going to get out. They're going to come home, and you can do one of two things as Tom taxpayer. You can either be part of the solution and make sure that they've got an apartment and they've got a job and they're successful, or you can just see that cycle continue to go over and over again.
Right.
And I would rather see them go in a positive direction than not.
Amazing. Well, Dr. Joe, you are the bomb. I am always blown away by both the work you do in the industry, but this really cool stuff you're doing out. And I just think you got this massive beating heart that I wish for everybody. And one thing I'd like to say is, if you haven't been to the conference and you're a member, you got to come to this conference so you can touch that beating heart. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Tom.
Congratulations on the award, and appreciate you immensely.
Sure thing. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.